Hello and welcome back to another out-of-spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. In front of me here, we've got a brand new factory fresh Lotus Emira. And in today's video, this is going to be a nice laid back chill video. We're going to be doing a new car vehicle prep on this, going through starting with wash, decontamination. Then we'll get into all the paint correction because there is a ton of defects on this brand new vehicle. I'm going to show you through all of that. We'll go through, polish it, and then coat absolutely everything from the paint to the glass to all of the plastic trim on this. We'll take off the wheels, coat the barrels, the calipers, the face of the wheel, dial in the suspension while we're at it. We'll also touch on the inside as well. So join me as we dial in this brand new Lotus Emira. Well, a little bit different style video for you guys today. I like to kind of mix these in every so often, from doing product reviews, showing you guys how to detail and, how to do specific things in general when it comes to detailing. I like to kind of just set a tripod up, show you guys through working on a car, and of course show you some great before and afters. Now, the one thing here, I think a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, Colton, this is a brand new car. It shouldn't need that much work. And that's exactly why I'm filming this video. Now, I've already cheated on you guys a little bit, to be honest, because I wasn't exactly expecting to make a video on this. The car came in earlier this morning. My customer actually picked this up yesterday, and I gave it a quick wash. It wasn't super dirty or anything, just kind of lightly dusty. And then I got the scan grip lights out, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing needs some serious love. So we're gonna actually make a video with it. Now, I absolutely love these Lotus Emira. They are really, really neat cars. I've worked on a couple at this point now. And one of the cool things is, I just think it's fun that we have still manual sports cars and not just only electric cars. You guys know this is my Model 3 Performance, but I love stuff like this. And I'm sure a lot of you are saying, well, Colton can't possibly drive manual cars, can he? He's one-handed. Well, actually, my first 3 cars that I owned were all manual. So when I started driving manual. And I know that might seem crazy, but I enjoy the hell out of it. And these types of cars are just so freaking cool. And they look really special as well. So cool that we get to actually detail this thing with you guys on camera. So like I said, we're gonna go through, we're gonna do a full correction, full polish. We're gonna really dial this thing in, protect absolutely everything. But I wanna walk you through some of these areas. Again, on a brand new car, this is a factory fresh car. It literally landed here, went through PDI. I'm sure the dealership washed it, which doesn't help, but there are a ton of working marks on it. What I mean by that is lots of rotaries, quite a bit of sanding it looks like on this thing as well. So let's take you through it. Now, the first thing when I start looking at a car, I don't necessarily start looking at the paint first. I start looking at the cracks and crevices. So I start looking at areas like this, and that tells me right away, somebody's been here before. We've got lots of polishing residue all over it. You come over to seals like this and you start seeing all this chalky whiteness in here. Well, that just means somebody has already been here. So we'll definitely have to go through and clean this. This is not something I do right after I wash car or during the process of that, because we're gonna make a mess anyway. We're gonna be getting into all these grooves, nooks and crannies. You can tape all of this up. What I find on areas like this, better to tape it up. You can tape the rubber here, but you're still gonna get some stuff in there. I'll show you guys how I go through and clean that. But overall, the condition of this paint, really not great. Again, this is a brand new car. My customer picked this up yesterday, factory fresh car, and you can just see we've got DA haze all over it. We've got deep scratches. We've got, wow, those are some really deep scratches right there. And yeah, we've got water spots, all sorts of nastiness all over this. Look at the cloudiness in this paint, like really, really unimpressive. You come down to these vents, these are actually looking okay. Just some general wiping. Back here, you can see some rotary polishing going on, which makes sense for there. And that's what I start looking for. Now, as I go through the rest of the car, it might be a little hard to see on the silver, but you can definitely overall see some scratches here and there. The piano black, this type of stuff, holy guacamole. Look how bad that looks in there. So we'll get all of that dialed in. You can see a bunch of ghosting rotary trails in there as well. If we come back here, yeah, can see quite a bit of scratches in there. Not super bad on this kind of champagne pewter color, if you will, but it's definitely at the point where it needs a little bit of love. You can see this whole rear bumper has rotary trails all over it. Up here, this rear quarter, rotary trails all over it, coming all the way down. Yeah, tons of scratches. These are a real pain in the butt to polish, I will say that, so those will be fun to do. But you can just see DA haze absolutely everywhere. So this is the case of a brand new car, folks, and this is why they come in for a multi-day full paint correction, full polish, fully getting them dialed in. Even this entire front fender, you can see rotary polishing all the way over it. Now, rotary polishing is really not that hard to remove. You can actually just remove this with the DA polisher, but some of those deeper scratches and more haze like that up there, we're gonna need to cut it. Now, traditionally, when I've worked on Lotus before, they are pretty soft when it comes to the paint. So we'll probably back down on kind of the aggressiveness of the compound. Still probably using a microfiber cutting pad on this, what I would assume. But we might get away with using something like a middle ground compound, something not super aggressive. I don't know. I'll have to play. I haven't worked on this paint before, but as I just continue to move throughout here, even with abundant light in here, if I were to turn the lights off, it'd be really apparent. You can just see all throughout the front bumper, just rotary marks, random scratches everywhere. The main hood actually looks pretty good here, but as I get into the fenders, just a bunch of little things throughout all of this. And even all these little grills down here, you can just see, yeah, they really don't look good. And it's just crazy they deliver cars like this. Can just see tons of scratches throughout here. And the wheels need some serious love. So I've washed this car. Now, typically, I don't ever clean the wheels at this point because they're going to get compound dust all over them, and I like to remove them to clean them. It's a little bit more gentle to do that, but you can see the before there. There's quite a bit of scratches as well in the wheels. We might get to the point where we polish these up real quick, but yeah, this car, he literally drove this yesterday, and this is how it looks. So breaking in a new car, looks like he was doing it properly, enjoying this. This thing is all meant to be. So now that we kind of understand the general condition, overall scratches, rotary polishing marks everywhere, I think it's now time. We're going to swap out the Land Cruiser in there with the Emira, and we're going to get to some paint correction. I'll take you through all the process, show you some great 50/50s on this, and it's going to be a real fun one. Alrighty guys, so we are finished up here with the initial compounding stage and, kind of removing all of those deeper, heavier scratches, and then it's time to refine it. Now, before we do that, we're actually going to take this thing off the lift here. We're gonna go wash it because tons and tons of compound dust. It's just a messy, messy process. I mean, you can literally see it just everywhere. It just gets all over the car in the nooks and crannies. So every single car, when it comes in here, they get their initial cutting stage, or they get washed before that, of course. Then they go through initial cutting stage, then get re-washed, then polished, then coated, and all of that fun stuff. So super helpful on a car like this to have a lift here to be able to get all of those lower areas. These cars are so unbelievably intricate. They are small, but man, do they take a ton of time. So for example, this entire front, I'm not gonna call it front trunk, I'll just call it a bonnet, I guess, but there's no engine under here because it's in the back. But getting into areas like this, so you actually have to unbolt this thing, and this whole little shell pops open like that. But that gave us access to get really tight into areas like that, get everything dialed in. So I'll leave that open so we can actually rinse some stuff out, just make sure it's perfect under there for my customer. Other couple of things to note, areas like this piano black down here, really, really tricky and intricate to polish here. So what I ended up doing was popping open the door here and going in there, cutting in all of this area, and we'll do the same for polishing it. I don't think I showed the interior in this, by the way. While we're at it, this is just a stunning interior. We'll probably put Geon Leather Shield Evo on this and just protect all of that. That'll be awesome. But man, this thing is turning out pretty darn good. Now the paint was actually really nice to work with. There were some serious sanding marks the more and more I got into this, so I did have to bump up a little bit. I was starting to mix a little bit more compound in with it, with our fine cut, I guess not ultra fine. Is that what they call it? Kosh Chemi? Yeah, it has to be fine cut because the other one's micro cut. But that pairing seemed to work well, so I got the paint pretty darn nice as it is right now. And this area was filled with a bunch of sanding marks, and here, things like that. And this is after the initial cutting stage. So you can see for our refinement, our polish process here, it's gonna be actually pretty straightforward other than all of the piano black. Now, the vents on these cars, real pain in the butt to do, very intricate in here. But again, you can just see all of that compound dust absolutely everywhere. So that's why areas and things like this, where this was left over from the factory, you can see all of that residue in there. I don't even worry about it. We'll clean that after we actually go through and rewash the car a second time to get all of that dust off of here. I mean, you can just see it. It's just caked all over the glass there. Really, really nasty stuff. But they got to go through this. So super helpful to have the lift up here and to be able to get the car up on this. But man, you can sure see that gloss coming out in this thing. It's looking phenomenal. While I'm at it, may as well show you up here. This was the area that was really, really bad. So tons of deep scratches in there before. Now you can see it's just light haze. We'll polish all of that out. Of course, I'll go through, clean all of this stuff that was left over there from beforehand. But man, looking good. So we're also going to, after we wash this thing, we'll get the car back up on the jacks and we'll focus on the wheels here and tidy anything up in the suspension there that needs some love. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised how dirty these wheels are after literally 80 miles this car has on it. But you also have just the absolutely disgusting tire dressing that the dealership put on, which don't love that. So let's get this thing off the lift. Let's give it a quick little bath. All I typically do with this is just foam it down, let that dwell on there, rinse it, and that's gonna pull all of that compound dust off. Then we'll back it back into here. All right guys, we've got the car re-washed, we've got the wheels dialed in, all coated the calipers as well. But now it's time to come back to the paint here. Now, we need to polish this thing up, but before we do, a very important step here. Now, again, you remember early on we had a bunch of compound residue in all of the areas delivered from factory. This also happens while I'm actually working on the car as well. It's just very hard to get compounds out of here. Now, some guys will tape all this up. This is a better way to do it. You get a more consistent cut because you don't have adhesive coming in here from the actual tape. There are some places you absolutely have to have adhesive. But how we actually remove this is we actually take our panel prep spray, something like this. This is Clean by Pan, the organizers. We take a credit card or a hotel key, something like this. I guess I stayed at Aloft at some point, and we're going to wrap this in a microfiber towel. Now, essentially what we do is you can take your card like this and put it right on a corner, and then we're just gonna work this in. And our goal here is to use a panel prep spray that's gonna break down the polish residue. You can already see how much cleaner that edge is gonna be. So then we come back in here with this. Now, this takes a ton of time, but I can tell you what separates really good detailing from just very quick jobs is stuff like this. So we want to ensure that there is no compound residue between every single one of these nooks and crannies. This takes forever. It takes 30 to 45 minutes depending on the size of the car. It's annoying, it's cumbersome, but I promise you, you leave that type of stuff there for your customers, you're not gonna have return customers, nor is that any way to leave someone's car. So I'm gonna do this all along all the vents here, every single edge, go through that, take my time, do it right, and especially clean up the rubber. right, guys, and here we are after our final polish, and look at that paint, absolutely glowing. Absolutely thrilled with how the polishing came out. Holy cow, was it a ton of work. And again, the funny thing about this car, it's actually really quite a small vehicle, but holy smokes is it intricate. You look at areas like this entire vent all the way down the side of the door, that all needs to really be done with a 3-inch. Same thing with up here. Then you see all of the vents up here, and then you get all of these crazy concaves throughout this. So it was an absolute ton of work. But holy cow, this thing came out incredible. So I've already gone through, I've wiped this entire thing down with our panel prep spray. We're now ready for coating on the paint here. We'll focus on the glass after the fact, but man, let me bring you in a little bit closer, show you what this actually looks like. So that is our final result. You can see just absolutely crystal clear, absolutely perfect paint. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I can't wait to see this thing out in the sunshine. Now, some of these areas, holy smokes, were they tricky. Not only just the angles, the piano black, holy cow, what a nightmare. But this is the result we got it to. Let me bring you in a little bit closer. That is about as perfect a paint as you can possibly get there. And you remember how scratched all of that was. And yeah, pretty darn nuts. This rear diffuser back here, holy cow. You want to talk about a lot of polishing for a very small area. Man, oh man, but look at the clarity we got out of this thing. I mean, it just looks freaking awesome. You can see the final result there. Just amazing. Absolutely thrilled with this. So we're gonna get this thing coated now. Really excited to do that. Then we'll worry about the glass. We'll dial in the interior. We need to go through some of the engine bay stuff, just make sure everything's perfect in there. But holy smokes. Oh, also, most challenging area on Lotus Emira, this entire rocker panel down here. Straight piano black, an absolute nightmare to polish, but absolutely stunning once it's done properly. I mean, that is a freaking mirror. So pumped with how that came out, and yeah, tons of work. I put in a lot of hours on this car, but so worth it. That's one of the things here at the shop. You know, a lot of shops will just, you know, if you are paying for a 1-step or a 2-step, you know, they're just going to do bare minimum that. That's not how my shop works at all. If the car needs it, I do it. And my original price quotes that I give customers, prices never go up. So sometimes I win. In the case of a brand new car comes in, it needs a little less work. In some cases like this, I lose out a little bit, but that's okay to me. I don't really like to nitpick and do all of that stuff. I just get to enjoy working on these cars. I mean, yes, I'm running a business trying to make money, do all that stuff for, you know, my livelihood. But this to me, yeah, I like to do things right. And if it, you know, means that I spend an extra day on a car or whatever, I don't really care. It's super worth it. But man, this Emira is looking incredible. So let's get this bad boy protected and fully coated. Well guys, back on the ground, all finished up here with the Lotus Emira. What a fun project this was. Took a ton of time to say the least, but a really, really nice project. I just love these little cars, but man, are they tricky to work with. So a couple of other things we did. I did a little bit off camera that I'll show you here. So of course, we got the wheels dialed. This is how they look back on the car, nice and clean. You could literally eat off of these things. Nice, gentle tire dressing. We've coated the paint. We coated every single pane of glass as well. You guys, I think, saw a little bit of that if I'm remembering. Went through the whole interior. The interior, of course, really did not need much of anything, but just everything looking proper, looking dialed in there. All the interior glass absolutely perfected here, so crystal clear glass, using my typical method that I always do. Quickly, I think it's right here, this button, maybe. There we go, for the rear trunk. So back here, all of this was actually ceramic coated with a plastic protectant. This is something, especially on a car like this, after washing it, I know how much water actually gets back here. So all of the plastics, I've fully coated all of that, even the Lotus right up there, all into this area. So it's got a nice UV protectant on it. It'll stay looking nice for years and years to come. But man, what a project this was. I know at the end of these, it's always, well, the time is ready for this car to leave, and customer is going to be picking it up tomorrow. But just absolutely thrilled with how all the black came out, especially considering how bad it was at the beginning of it. And yeah, couldn't be more pleased. So as always, if you guys are interested in getting your car done, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me either at cleardetailing.com or send me an email. It's always in the description of the videos, colton@outofspecstudios.com. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Super fun one with a really fun special car here. We'll see you in the next one soon. Bye-bye.